When we read an abstract of a life science paper, we will try, at first, understanding the basic content of the abstract. It is to understand what the paper is all about and what the overall message of the paper would be. In our terms, it is to understand the background, the result overview, and the conclusions components. Yes, they are an important starting point for reading an abstract. They will be the main message of an abstract. But after understanding them, I would like to see further into the abstract. If we carefully read it, we can get a glimpse of how logically the authors thought during the writing process. It is visible in the abstract. Do you know where to look at? It is the second sentence of an abstract. Today, let's discuss how the second sentence can provide insights into the author's logical flow and reasoning. Hi everyone, welcome to the Foundational Skills in Life Sciences podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Synaptologica. We discuss the skills that life science scholars learn, use, and improve throughout professional activities. Your benefit is expressed in my motto, learn the skills, enjoy academic life. Last episode. In the last episode, episode 46, we analyzed the abstract of the Milestone Article 1 of the 2023 Nobel Prize Laureates in Physiology or Medicine. It was written by the laureates Dr. Katalin Karikó and Dr. Drew Weissman, and it was published in 2005 in the journal Immunity. I will show you a link to the paper in the episode description. We analyzed the abstract in the following way. We labeled each of the 8 sentences as sentence 1, sentence 2, and so on. We read each sentence, and we assigned each sentence to either of the 8 structural components of the abstract, so that the author's intention in each sentence became clear. With this process, we found that sentence 1 corresponds to the background component of the abstract. Sentence 2 corresponds to the known component. Sentence 3 corresponds to the unknown component. Sentence 4 corresponds to the result number 1 of the results component. Sentence 5 corresponds to the result number 2 of the results component. Sentence 6 corresponds to the result number 3 of the results component. Sentence 7 corresponds to the conclusions component. And the last sentence, sentence 8, corresponds to the implications component. Based on this analysis in the last episode, we can now see a clear structure in this very well-written abstract. I'm sure you can see the author's intentions very clearly in each sentence. Today's episode. From today, we will go even deeper into this abstract. In the last episode, I said that the second sentence is the most important and the most beautiful sentence for me. Today, we will focus on this single sentence. I would like to explain why I think this sentence is important and beautiful. My explanation would be short, but I hope that it will be informative for you. You might hear this type of explanation only from me. I have never heard of it from others. The instructors of any of my courses in the past never talked about it, and my research mentors never talked about it. Whenever I give my explanation, my trainees always say that they have never heard of it before either. My content is what I have developed so far by myself, based on my rich experience of reading, writing, peer reviewing, teaching, and discussing all the necessary skills. So I will call this explanation the professor's viewpoint. In the subsequent episodes, we will analyze the remaining sentences in the same way, in the order as they occur in the abstract. Let's get started. Professor's viewpoint. I have 4 comments about sentence 2 of this abstract. When I say that this sentence is beautiful, I do not mean that the expression is poetic. It means that the author's intention is very clear to us, the readers. The authors did not write, "Here is what we think," or "Here is what we mean by this sentence." Sentence 2 has only 9 words. It is a very short sentence. It is a simple statement of one fact. It is not long enough for the authors to explain what they were thinking when they wrote the sentence, but they did not have to add extra explanations. What the authors meant behind the sentence is very clear because of the location of the sentence. Sentence 2 is between the sentences 1 and 3. In my view, one critical skill for reading an abstract is to identify the structural components in individual sentences and to confirm their identities by their locations, that is, their order of appearances in the abstract and the relative positions with other sentences. This principle works because in most of the well-written abstracts, the structural components will be described in the preset order. And we have been talking about the 8 structural components in this most common order. And the order is the background, the known, the unknown, the result overview, the methods, the results, the conclusions, and the implications. Let's see the details. Sentence 2 with the known, comment 1. Here is a general principle. The first 3 sentences of an abstract, or the first 3 groups of sentences of an abstract, will set the stage for what the research is all about. This principle applies to our abstract of the Milestone Article 1. Let's examine what the first 3 sentences will mention in general and in our abstract. The first sentence, or the first group of sentences, will describe the background component. In our abstract, sentence 1 says that the nucleic acids, DNA and RNA, will trigger immune responses. The second sentence, or the second group of sentences, will describe the known component, that is, what is known in the field in relation to the unknown component in the next sentence. In our abstract, sentence 2 says that the DNA with modified nucleosides will not trigger immune responses. The third sentence, or the third group of sentences, will describe the unknown component, that is, the question or what will be examined or tested in this work. In our abstract, sentence 3 says that it is unknown whether RNA with modified nucleosides will trigger immune responses or not. Pay attention to the 3 words in these sentences: DNA, RNA, and modification, which is a nucleoside modification. Sentence 1 mentions DNA and RNA. Sentence 2 mentions modified DNA. And sentence 3 mentions modified RNA. Do you see that the sentence 2 plays the role of a logical bridge between sentences 1 and 3? Let's look at it from another way to emphasize the logical bridge. Let's extract those 3 words. DNA appeared in sentences 1 and 2, modified appeared in sentences 2 and 3, and RNA appeared in sentences 1 and 3. So 1 and 2, 2 and 3, and 1 and 3. Only by looking at these 3 words, DNA, RNA, and modified, we can tell that sentence 2 forms a logical bridge between sentences 1 and 3. This bridge will logically guide the readers from the background component in sentence 1 to the main question of the work, the unknown component, in sentence 3. Sentence 2 with the known component, comment 2. If we want to know the function of a sentence, one way would be to delete the sentence and examine how the remaining sentences will read. Now, in a hypothetical situation, suppose that you are an editor and you are asked to remove sentence 2 from the abstract. Then you are left with two sentences. Sentence 1 mentions that DNA and RNA will trigger immune responses, and sentence 3 mentions whether modified RNA triggers immune responses is unknown. After this editing, DNA appears only in sentence 1 and not in sentence 3, so you will delete DNA. After your final editing, you will have two sentences. Sentence 1, RNA will trigger immune responses, and sentence 3, whether modified RNA triggers immune responses is unknown. What do you think? How does this abstract read? To me, the statements are straightforward, but the logic seems too simple. The word modified RNA shows up too abruptly for me. And this concept of modified RNA can be any of the many randomly chosen unknown things in the field. There seems to be no logical necessity to study the effect of modified RNA on immune responses. It says only that it is unknown. The writing appears to be abrupt, weak, and superficial. So we understand that sentence 2 created a meaningful bridge between sentences 1 and 3, so that the readers are guided naturally from sentence 1 then to sentence 3. Sentence 2 with the known, comment 3. We just saw that sentence 2 makes a meaningful bridge. But I think sentence 2 is more than a bridge. It says that modified DNA will not trigger immune responses. This fact about the modified DNA may have been a well-known fact in the field. Then the experts in the field might not need sentence 2. But this statement was very helpful for me. I'm totally outside this field of immunology research, and I have no background knowledge. Sentence 2 seems to indicate how the authors obtained the initial idea of this work. It could also tell us the motivation when they had started working on this project. Modified DNA does not trigger immune responses. How about modified RNA? Of course, it is possible that the authors had not thought this way, and it is possible that this logic was added after all the work was completed, only at the time of writing for easy reading and easy understanding by the readers. But whatever the actual thought process was, I like this writing in the end. This is because after I'm informed of the effect of modified DNA in sentence 2, I become curious to know the effect of modified RNA in sentence 3. This way, sentence 2 is very convincing as the information that leads to sentence 3, and because of that, it is excellent writing. Sentence 2 with the known, comment 4. In comment 2, we tried deleting sentence 2, and we were not satisfied with the resulting writing. I have read many abstracts without the known components so far. I will tell you about my experience with those papers. In my experience, there are two groups of papers whose abstracts do not have the known component. In the first group of papers, I found that the logic of the other sections of the paper is not well constructed. By the other sections of the paper, I mean the introduction, the methods, the results, and the discussion sections. Authors of such papers tend to simply describe what they did and what they found. but they are not careful enough to explain the processes that led to what they did and what they found. More importantly, such authors would not clearly describe the novelty of the work. That is, how their work is new in detail. To describe the novelty of the work, the authors will need to understand at least a few things. They include what the previous findings were in other reports, what those previous findings indicated, how the current findings are different from the previous findings, and what their different findings will indicate in the current work. If the authors can describe these features of the novelty clearly in the rest of the paper, they will be able to describe the known-unknown pair clearly and concisely in their abstract as well. In other words, the known-unknown pair in the abstract needs this understanding of novelty in the rest of the paper. Do you see that the known component could be missing in the abstract of non-caring authors? So in the first group of papers which do not have the known components in the abstracts, the writing might not be so good. It might still be good for experts in the field, but the writing would not be so friendly to the readers outside the field. In the second group of papers, whose abstracts do not have the known components, the writing in the other sections of the paper is well constructed. In this group of papers, the absence of the known component is then simply a matter of the author's writing styles. So in the second group of papers, the writing in the rest of the papers is good, and there's nothing too much to worry about when we read the entire papers. Overall, here is my thinking when it comes to the known component in the abstract. This thinking is helpful for me when I critically read a paper as a personal reader or as a peer reviewer. When the known component is present in the abstract, it is usually a good sign. Most likely, the rest of the paper is well written. When the known component is absent in the abstract, it is possible that the paper is still well written. But beware, there is a possibility that the paper is not well written. Of course, there is no guarantee that this thinking is always true. There are many exceptions, but this thinking has been helpful for me as a general guide. Summary. Today, we focused on a single sentence of the abstract. It was the sentence 2 that typically shows the known component, that is, what is known in the field with respect to what is unknown in the field to be researched in the paper. I had 4 comments in the professor's viewpoint. These comments will answer today's question. Why is the second sentence important and beautiful, in my view? In comment 1, we discussed that the sentence 2 plays the role of a logical bridge between sentences 1 and 3, that is, between the background and the unknown components. In comment 2, we tried deleting sentence 2 from the abstract and examined its effect. We saw that when we deleted sentence 2, the resulting abstract appeared to be weak and superficial. So we learned that we need sentence 2. In comment 3, we saw that sentence 2 could show how the authors obtained the idea of the work, or what idea motivated the authors to start the work. In comment 4, we talked about what would be indicated when sentence 2 is present or absent in an abstract. In my experience of reading and peer reviewing papers, the presence or absence of sentence 2 could tell us whether the rest of the paper is well written or not. When I read this abstract of our Milestone Article 1, I'm always impressed by the excellent structure, especially by the known component. I'm very happy today because I could share this happy satisfaction with you. Your action. When you read an abstract of any paper next time, please pay attention to whether or not the abstract has sentence 2, that is, the known component. Do you like the abstract? Do you like how the rest of the paper is written? Please tell me your experience and how you felt when you read the paper. My email address is ideas@synaptologica.com. Thank you for joining me in today's episode of Foundational Skills in Life Sciences. I'm Dr. Synaptologica. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.